So children, in the first part of the video of chapter 8, that is construction of quadrilateral and types. So now we will start the next part with the today's thought of the week, that is believe in yourself a little more. Children, now we will start the types of quadrilaterals. In the first part we have seen practice set 8.1 all 4 constructions. There some measurements have been given, and by the given measurements we have constructed a quadrilateral. And now the next type of quadrilateral we all know, by putting some condition on side and angles of a quadrilateral we get different types of quadrilaterals. And you know already 2 types of quadrilaterals. Which were they? Rectangle and squares. So we'll study some more properties of these type of quadrilaterals, and we'll see some activities also. So let us see first type of quadrilateral, that is rectangle. What is the definition? What do you mean by rectangle? That is, if all angles of a quadrilateral are right angles, it is called a rectangle. Now see the figure, angle A, angle B, angle C and angle D. In this quadrilateral ABCD, all angles are right angle, that is their measure is 90 degree. You can construct a quadrilateral if 2 adjacent sides and 3 angles are given. Means out of 10 elements, any 5 elements, and 5 elements means 2 adjacent sides. Adjacent sides means if you take AD and DC are adjacent, if you take DC and BC, that are also adjacent. In such a way, means AB and BC, such type of sides are adjacent sides. So if you know any 2 adjacent sides and any 3 angles, you can construct a quadrilateral of, that is a rectangle you can construct. Okay, so let's see what are the properties of rectangle. Opposite sides of rectangle are congruent. That means side AD and side BC is congruent, side DC and side AB is congruent. Second property, diagonals of rectangle are congruent. If you draw diagonal from A to C and B to D, they are congruent. That means their lengths are equal. Third property is diagonals of a rectangle bisect each other. When AC and BD, they bisect each other, they are congruent. Okay. Now the next type of quadrilateral is square. Okay. What is a square? If all sides and all angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, then it is called a square. So angle P, angle Q, angle R and angle S are all right angles. Also side PQ, side QR, side RS and side PS, they all are congruent. Then such type of figure is called a square. Okay, what are the properties of square? Diagonals are of equal length. All diagonals. Where are the diagonals? If you join P to R, PR is the diagonal. If you join point Q to S, this QS is a diagonal. If those 2 diagonals are of equal length, they are congruent. That means diagonals of a square are congruent. Second property, diagonals bisect each other. That means they bisect each other at one point. Diagonals are perpendicular to each other. If you see diagonal PR and diagonal QS, they are perpendicular each other. That means they forms a right angle when they intersect each other. And fourth property is diagonals bisect the opposite angles. Opposite angle they bisect. When these PR and QS, these 2 diagonals bisect each other, they bisect opposite angles. Okay, so these are some properties of square. We will see some activities based on rectangle and square, their properties. And now let's see the third type of quadrilateral, that is rhombus. You know what is a rhombus? If all sides of quadrilateral are of equal length, that is they are congruent, it is called a rhombus. Okay, now here all sides are of equal length, so it is called a rhombus, isn't it? So properties of a rhombus are opposite angles are congruent, diagonals bisect opposite angles of a rhombus. Okay, and diagonals bisect each other and they are perpendicular to each other. So where are the diagonals? Diagonal AC and diagonal BD, these are are the diagonals. When they bisect each other, they form a perpendicular bisector. They are perpendicular to each other. They bisect opposite angles. Diagonals bisect opposite angles, and opposite angles are congruent. Angle A and angle C are congruent. Angle B and angle D are also congruent. So when we have seen now rectangle, square and rhombus, okay, their properties also. In the next video we will see the activity 1, 2 and 3 of page number 43, 44 and 45 of your textbook in the next period, where we will see some properties of rectangle, some properties of square and some properties of rhombus in the form of activity. We will see that. Okay. Till then what you will do, you will complete part 1 video and part 2 in your copy and write down all the properties of each of the quadrilateral. Thank you.